It's a little too late in the day to do anything with. Can we buy or sell anything of consequence? A neck cushion is still worth 4 in this particular part of the world. Altimeters are worth considerably less. And a pressure gauge. That's a bit of a profit. I bought that for less than 100. Yeah, I'll take that. Eastern Spices. Where are we headed with that? Cairo and Dubai. Driving goggles. Elastic wallet. Heavy Storm. Jungle Traveller set. Hooded cloak. I can't afford that. And it's 7 PM so the market closes. Okay. We could have a look at the map briefly. I think when's this? Departs for Antalya in 4 days at 6 PM. Okay, it'll be worth having a look to see what other routes we can find, I suppose, then. Okay. Never mind. Back on with things. We shall have to explore in the morning and find out what we can. Hotel for 1 day. Certainly I'm not waiting 4 days for something. I awoke this morning in the silks of an Ottoman harem girl. Worse yet, I was in the forbidden women's apartments of Tokapi Palace. I had no memory of the previous night, at least none I wish to record, but quickly ascertained the peril of my position. Having no claim to Ottoman royalty and little desire to find myself drafted into the ranks of the eunuch guard, I bent my mind to thoughts of escape. There was only one option: to keep my head down and run. After some confusion and dashing about, I scaled one of the outer walls using a palm tree, and despite some regrettable wear to my dashing skills, I arrived outside the palace walls in one piece. I found Monsieur Fogg reading a newspaper back at our lodgings. He looked up and blushed a most violent shade of red as he took in my attire, setting his cup down with uncharacteristic force. And yet somehow the matter quietly dropped. Sometimes, I confess, I do admire the English. So this morning we shall explore before the markets open. Might as well get that morning in, find where we can head. There's a few good routes. Oh my, that's going some ways. Over to Tehran, Herat, Kabul. Those would be useful routes to take. I found myself in the historic quarter of Sultanahmet, in the shadow of the glorious minarets of the Blue Mosque. I had some hours before I had to return to Monsieur Fogg, and was finding myself attracting some entertaining attention in my flashing silks. I made my way to the Grand Bazaar, a covered market holding thousands upon thousands of stalls, divided into streets of vendors selling everything from Turkish leather slippers to dried fruits and nuts stacked in precarious pyramids. The vendors called out in every language known to man, and I'd wager some entirely invented. I pressed into the raucous throng, my senses overwhelmed by the calls of the vendors and the aromas of cinnamon and mint. From one man's stall I picked up a worked silver dagger. Ah, the Balkan Khanjar, with watered steel blade. A formidable choice, mademoiselle, the vendor enthused. Mademoiselle? Am I still wearing something slightly dubious, perhaps? I'd be intrigued to know what happened last night, but maybe it's best we don't know. The vendor enthused. A ceremonial item, although, and he winked. It may have practical uses for a beautiful lady such as yourself. I smiled at him, and he offered the dagger for £60. I paid him the money. I bought the dagger, and the vendor accepted my money with a wide smile, picking up my new Khanjar with alacrity. I don't know if I got a good deal there. I imagine that can probably be sold somewhere for more than £60. We need to just keep an eye on it. I explored the city further. The streets were full of magnificent sights. Historic palaces with rambling manicured gardens. Bright marbled mosques with minarets that glowed in the sunlight. Gold-curtained carriages drawn by mechanical horses enamelled in scarlet and purple. Ah, my! There was so much beauty that my eyes began to ache, and I surprised myself with a desire to return to the more drab tones of my master. Funds have gone down somewhat. Your character is now courageous. The Balkan dagger should fetch a good price in Tehran, should we decide to sell it. Well, we had a route to Tehran, which we might be able to take now. Is that Tehran? Yeah. Oh, 2 days at 6 PM. That's no use to me. I expect this departure could be altered. The Englishman's wardrobe should lend us some weight. For £330 we could leave tomorrow. Is that worth it? Or for 1100 we could leave today. I don't know if we want to do that. What other options are available to us? Where else are we headed? Tehran's a good route. That's a long route. Antalya? That's the one that's still 3 days. This is the only... Oh, and hang on. Arrives Thursday... Sure, let's go with it. Let's keep moving. Yeah. Oh. Oh, it left. Oh, it left at noon. Oh, I wasn't fast enough. Which means there are no... Oh, because I wasn't fast enough, there are no travel options for today now. Unless I'm willing to pay money to do it. And I don't think I want to be honest. Let's have another look at the market. Was there anything... Oh, right. Oh, I'm onto my second suitcase anyway for some reason. I wonder if that just gave me the suitcase for, like, no reason. So we've got the Balkan Dagger. We've got Eastern Spices. No, the market... Can we go to the... I don't know why it closed the market there. The Eastern Spices are worth something in Antalya. Oh, is that... That would have been useful to pick up if we'd managed to go there. The Hooded Cloak. I don't know what that would do. Most of these are probably useful somewhere. Our Harem Silks, good lord. What are we... They're worth 2,100 in a specific place that I don't know where it is. The Alterita... Oh yes, that's not worth much here. Are the wool trousers? I never really particularly check these. For some reason. Just sort of lug them everywhere. We have the elastic wallet. I don't know if any of these are worth bringing. I really don't. Driving goggles. They're very cheap, so I could probably bring them with me, and it's really no... Yeah, those sort of things are like no big loss if they're not don't turn out to be profitable. If I could find double figures selling price for them, they're worth something. The pith helmet as well, for that matter. The others are worth a little bit more, so I should probably hang fire on those. Eastern Spices, I think, are worth a bit in certain places, so that was worth 50 something, wasn't it? No, 42 was it, I guess. Okay. I shall bed down for the night. Since we've got a second suitcase, I might as well fill it up, is my thinking there. So hopefully I shall find a route that doesn't only allow one. As night fell, I went out to explore a little, only to have someone dip their hand into my pocket. I did not see the culprit, but my elastic wallet saved the day! Haha! As if that actually worked, wow. I spent like £4 and it saved me from getting robbed. That's actually quite useful. We shall depart Istanbul today. No, we won't, because that goes the wrong way. That's not a useful place for me to go. I want to get over here. Tehran arrives Sunday. Departure could still be adjusted. We could, for £330, we can still leave today, I guess. I don't want to spend too much time faffing about, so you know what? I will do that. We shall grease the wheels. It's not going to be a fun journey, but we'll get us moving. That cost me 630, that cost me, but we still have more than we started with, so that's something. A gigantic iron horse reared from the prow of the Istanbul-Tehran Express, billowing gouts of steam from its nostrils. The Kemataj was distinctly Ottoman in design, but where even the most luxurious European trains sacrificed weight for efficiency, it was a matter of some pride that the Kemataj's engines used a carefully guarded new Persian design, supposedly capable of achieving a top speed of 75 miles per hour. Truly, we live in an age of wonder. Unimaginable to our ancestors, ever since I came into Monsieur Fogg's employ, I had experienced more than my share of marvels, and as the Kemataj pulled out of the station, I resolved to savour each and every new one. Excuse me. We shall appreciate our journey. I can read the news while we wait. The Times. Phileas Fogg attempts round-the-world adventure. They're a little behind the Times. That was 9 days ago. It's over a week old, that newspaper. The first day was short because of our evening departure, so we had just about enough time to secure a compartment and observe our fellow passengers. A thick-set janissary from the Turkish Guard, a striking red-headed woman who travelled without a veil. Both were settled into their seats, eyes closed, and so did not appear open to conversation. Thus wondered idly if they had pockets worth picking now. I'll let them be, and rested myself. I'm trying not to be a complete asshole on this, as it were. We shall converse, actually. With another day of foggish calm beckoning, I fell into conversation with the unveiled red-haired woman, eager to talk of engines and gauges and driver diameters. She told me her name was Ksenia Petrovna Volkova, and I asked her about the Kemataj. "Oh, that is the real mystery, is it not?" she laughed, and then gave me a challenging look. "Do you truly believe the Persians have a revolutionary new engine?" "I think they would like us to believe in it," I said thoughtfully. "It all seems very political, does it not?" Ksenia lifted one eyebrow. Everything is so political, she told me seriously. She told me seriously before she deliberately talk shifted to lighter matters. Curious. So that didn't seem to learn as much, particularly. We can converse again, further, with someone else. Greetings, Ajad Ghul. Good evening to you, monsieur. Tell me about Tehran. The Prime Minister is a good influence on the young Shah. From Tehran, can we get to Bandar Abbas? Again, I'm not particularly... I think we're sort of into Middle East territory now, aren't we? Definitely, so... This is definitely a geographical area I'm not well up on. Indeed, one can fly aboard the Little Beetle from Tehran to Bandar Abbas, but the fare is very high. Can we go from Bandar Abbas to Karachi? I believe so. My brother stayed in Bandar Abbas after the bed of brothers to Karachi. He started taking passengers. Goodbye. New routes discovered, so from there we could go down. We could stay on our route, to be honest. We've got the Bandar Abbas, Karachi. Seems like a good route to take, actually. The Taj stopped for 5 hours at the Iranian border while various uniformed inspectors scrutinized our papers and peered into our faces. I peered right back, and the guard looked with some annoyance, but of course our papers were in order, and he let us pass. Onwards into Iran. We can attend to Monsieur Fogg. Oh, okay. I was trying to attend to Monsieur Fogg, something else has come up apparently. I kept watch on Ksenia, who excused herself to go to the conveniences after a look at her pocket watch. I followed her, despite Monsieur Fogg's raised eyebrow. My curiosity, I admit, overrode my politesse. But merde! When I arrived, the conveniences were empty. My suspicions confirmed, I went searching. The Taj was bristling with uniformed guards who grew more unfriendly as I approached the front of the train. 2 taciturn fellows blocked the entrance to the engine car, no doubt guarding the secret new designs from prying eyes. Just then I saw a flash of red outside and hurried to the window. To my shock, Ksenia was hanging from the side of the train. She looked up at me through wind goggles and lifted an arm to wave. And I saw her arm was covered in a twisting metal gauntlet covered in rubber suction cups, much like those on a squid. As I watched, she determinedly began to sucker her way towards the engine car. I was confounded, but impressed by her mad daring, and I stumbled back to my compartment in a daze. It was at least an hour before Ksenia appeared, cheeks ruddy, but otherwise not a hair out of place. Madame, I suggested calmly, do you like squid? I adore calamari, she agreed without the slightest hesitation. I was starting to believe I had imagined the whole adventure until she added, particularly the tentacles, with those ingenious suckers. Monsieur Fogg looked baffled by the conversational turn, but we exchanged barbed repartee until, all too soon, the Taj pulled into Tehran station. Unsurprisingly, perhaps, the red-haired adventuress had disappeared by the time I gathered up our bags. But by then I was too entranced by the sights and smells of the ancient city of Tehran, capital of the Kingdom of Iran. Relations with Fogg have deteriorated slightly because I've been weird. I like exchanges like that, that's fun. Several of our possessions could be sold here, that's what I was hoping. So we can... oh man, there's a lot of things. Harem silks are worth 140, so sure. We've got the Balkan dagger, worth 1600, yes. Eastern spices are worth more than I paid for them, brilliant. I want to try and condense things. We have an amethyst, what's that and what's it worth? Since we're still down to that, I will bring... no! Very good bargaining, Passepartout. Yes, I will bring all the things that are cheap, because if they're not cheap somewhere else, they're good. What are they worth? Not much. The elastic wallet is worth more than I paid for it. I will take it. That's profiteering. The pith helmet is worth very little. The neck cushion is worth more than I paid for it, I think. Maybe. Not much. Altimeter is worth... hell, yes. Let's just sell it. I think that's a bit of profit. I think that's more than I paid for it as well. I wish to try and condense us down to one suitcase if we can. May we depart? No, we can... I think whatever options I had to depart have gone. We can explore though, so let us do so. We may as well do that while we can. We have routes to Astrakhan, which seems to be rather going backwards, if I may. To say that the capital of the Persian Empire is modern would be to deny the unparalleled glory of its ancient monuments and palaces. Yet jewel-beaked copper-bodied birds sang from the branches of trees, while spare workaday iron automata harvested cotton from the fields outside the city. The Qajar Shahs ruled over an empire almost constantly at war, but the recent alliance with the Ottomans' Sublime Porte had allowed the city to prosper despite border disputes with Russia and British India. The city is a garden of culture and art, protected from the skirmishes along its borders. I sat in the cafes with poets as they doled each other with words and competed for patronage. Relations with Fog have improved slightly. I don't know why, that just seems to randomly happen. It's just like, hey, he likes you now. It'll be worth a quick look at the map for the following day. We can head down to Bandar Abbas. Departs for Bandar Abbas tomorrow at 1 PM and arrives tomorrow. Fairly expensive, though. That's 330. That's quite the steep journey, although we have made quite a lot of money in this city. The Kemataj departs for Kabul tomorrow at 1. Oh, the same journey we're already on. Might be worth going, although that's 470. I dislike the way I can't zoom out. That is an unfortunate quirk of the format, I'm afraid. On mobile, you can absolutely zoom out. So, this is worth playing this game on mobile if you haven't, because obviously you will probably get an entirely different experience, and it's a very good game. You should very much be checking this thing out, because it's an amazing game. I wandered the streets once more as night fell. I sought out engineers and found them in the cafes, drinking heavily sweetened coffee and racing their inventions across tabletops. I sat with the shard engravers as they took turns to scratch minute symbols on a piece of coloured glass. Is that a device? They smiled, and one lifted the shard, turning it this way and that in the gaslight. This is an automaton's brain, or will be once it is complete. Their brains are crafted by hand? How else would it be done? A woman laughed in reply. This is true skill, a young bearded man agreed, eyes bright behind his jeweller's loop. The artificers only allow those with the steadiest hands to become engravers. Are you all artificers here? I asked with interest. We are, but that is hardly enough to qualify us to make automata, a middle-aged man by the name of Rafik remarked. That is exactly what the guild certifies, I replied, surprised by his words. In other cultures, Rafik continued derisively, a copper lily may be enough for an artificer to complete their education, but we all apprentice to other guilds and craftsmen. To truly make automata, we must be jewellers, architects, shipwrights, cobblers, doctors, dancers. What does dancing have to do with artificing? Rafik's eyes flashed. What if you desire to engineer a mechanical capable of grace? Where better to look than the smooth movements of a dancer's limbs? Are you sure you are not a poet? And I'm a dancer too, Rafik winked, and we clinked our coffee glasses together. Someone further in called out, To the Shahanshah! And we all raised our cups, and some wag added, May he live forever under the watchful eye of the Prime Minister! And everyone laughed. That is my abiding memory of Tehran, a room full of men and women in the hazy light, raising their glinting glasses and laughing into the sunset. It is a city, I am sure, that will stand forever. And that's all we can do for today, so let's rest for the night. See what we can make out in the morning. Before retiring, I engaged another guest in conversation. Might as well see what we can learn. I'm going to aim for talking to people where possible, by the way, in case you haven't picked up at this point. To find out what I could, learning the most efficient way to Lahore is to go via Kabul. A most interesting snippet. So, is that another route learned? It didn't actually say that. Okay. So let us depart. Let's make haste. We cannot do. Oh, we actually cannot depart for Bandar Abbas. We have actually missed our opportunity there. So I suppose we must continue on our way to Kabul. It's a fairly expensive journey, but it has ample space for suitcases. Monsieur Fogg does not particularly care for the Kermatage, but there we go. The Kermatage had extended its route, and now it ran from Istanbul through the Persian Empire and all the way to the British frontier city of Kabul. I was sorry to be leaving Tehran, a place of true possibility. Still, the Kermatage left us in no doubt that we were leaving. Its engines fired and we rocketed away along the rails. We shall converse. Greetings, Monsieur Abadijan. Ah, the unfortunate Passepartout. Good day. Unfortunate? Why am I unfortunate? I feel like we've been doing quite well. We've made £2,000 and made it halfway around the world. Or, well, hardly halfway. Maybe quarter of the way-ish, a bit. Tell me about Kabul. Kabul is the northernmost city of the British Raj. From Kabul, can we get to Lahore? Indeed, there is a regular service by road from Kabul to Lahore. From Lahore, can we get to Karachi? Oh, no, I've forgotten. I'm so sorry. Goodbye. From Kabul, we can indeed go... Whoa! Nice, that's a good route. That's going some ways. That'll do us nicely. I think the problem with long journeys is you don't get the opportunity to sell things, so you end up running out of money. So I think I like taking short steps more than anything else. One of the Armenian porters nudged his Pashtun friend and muttered something uncomplimentary as he watched me struggle to load our things into the luggage car. I focused upon my task, but they continued to stare at me in a discourteous fashion. "You look very strange for a servant," said the Armenian fellow, whose name turned out to be Abadijan, the man we just spoke to, I guess. It's kind of strange that you kind of get to talk to him before you meet them, but hey-ho. I looked the man level in the eye. "I am perfectly à la mode," I told them, in aggrieved tones, pulling my cuff straight. "They're all wearing this in Paris this year." They only laughed pityingly in response. Monsieur Abadijan tucked a purple lambswool pashmina around my neck. "Perhaps this will help," he said rather hopelessly. I stroked the soft fabric as I returned to my compartment. Monsieur Fogg made no comment, distracted by the whistles and shouts which marked our departure from Tehran. Well, according to the map, we've already been going for some time, but there you go.